Hi! If you're new here, my name is Holly. We've been living in this 2023 Ram ProMaster van conversion for the last few months, and I'm actually preparing to put the van away for storage while I go on some international travels. So in the process of deep cleaning and getting everything ready for the van, I thought it would be a good time to reflect on what I really love about the van build, and maybe even more importantly, what I regret the most. What I'm using here is a white granite composite sink, and I do much prefer this over the stainless steel sink. When I'm washing pans and things like that, there are these like little smudge marks that get left behind, and they're not that easy to wipe off. So I need to actually scrub these down with something a little bit stronger. The other thing I will note about this sink is my builder kept the cutout, and he has the lip here so that I can put the cutout on top of the sink and use it as counter space. I never use it. So this is basically not serving any function except to collect a lot of water. It collects dirt, it collects food, oil. I don't think having a sink cover that expands your countertop adds additional value, in my opinion. Like, this space here is more than enough for me to prep my meals. And on top of that, I have a fold out countertop, and I also have this countertop here, so I can always food prep on this side as well. So I definitely regret the cutout here. I wish it was just fully undermounted and there was no lip. One thing I absolutely love about my kitchen van build is the faucet. This is my kitchen, this is my bathroom, this is where I wash my hands all throughout the day. Having a tall faucet like this where you have lots of space underneath and it's not, you know, hovering right above the sink is really, really nice. All right, it's time for me to clean this gas range stove, and I have big thoughts on this gas range stove because this is my biggest build regret for the kitchen. I got the gas range stove because I love cooking on gas. Like, I like an open flame, even though I know it's not good for you in a small space. But there are some serious considerations with this build specifically, and with van life in general, of why I'm starting to believe that an induction stove is far superior to the gas stove. When I'm driving on bumpy roads, the grill often slips off. So I'll be driving, and then when I arrive, the grill is like this, which is very dangerous. This is a very heavy cast iron grill top, and I thought like it wouldn't move because my last build had a gas stove and I had no issues with it, but for some reason this one comes off all the time, and also these come off as well. The other issue with this propane stove with this layout, where my kitchen is facing the open sliding door, I find that on a windy day, even if there's like just a moderate breeze, I have to close the sliding door almost completely to make sure that like my cooking can continue efficiently. And so that is not something I considered with this layout. Before, with my last van, the propane stove was on the driver's side, and that was not an issue. The other thing I will note is it requires another resource, propane. Whether you have a 1 pound tank, a 5 pound tank, it's something you have to manage. Multiple times I was cooking, I ran out of propane gas and I had to switch it out. You also have to figure out how to safely recycle your canisters if you're using the 1 pound. There's a lot of things you're constantly managing when you already have to deal with your gray water tank, your freshwater tank, how much battery or electricity you have, your poo and your pee. And then lastly, my van build regret is not having the large burner at the front and then the little one in the back. My door does have a stainless steel backing behind it, so there is no safety issue because it has the stainless steel, but my mosquito nets are up all the time. Usually when I cook, I honestly just use the little stove in the front, and I very rarely use the back one. As you can see, it's very dirty and it's difficult to clean because it has the extra parts like the overlay grill. See all the little nooks and crannies where the crumbs can get in? That's really hard to get out, especially in the center area. And yeah, this thing is such a pain in the butt to clean. Do I regret having a stove permanently on the counter? No. I've wrestled with that decision, and ultimately, even if you're doing something in the van only once a day or maybe twice a day tops, like I'm cooking on this 1 or 2 times a day, it makes a big quality of life difference to not have to like manage pulling something out and putting something away. And so I do not regret this, nor do I regret the layout of the kitchen, of having the kitchen at the sliding door, even with the wind and all of that, because I absolutely would make all the trade-offs to have the view that I get when I'm washing dishes, when I'm cooking, to be able to have command of the space when I'm inside the van and be able to see everything that's going on in my environment. That has been the best build decision for this van. I wanted to also talk about a couple of things I really, really love about the kitchen design. I showed this upper pantry in my van build tutorial, and it's it's my favorite thing in the kitchen, like for sure. It is so easy to make my tea and get my cooking oils out from here. It's not in the way, it's like to the side, so I can like stand comfortably in the kitchen and just grab whatever I need here. And it fits so much dry goods. And also the design of having the step up on the bottom has worked out perfectly. This is where I keep all of Archie's food. It's empty now because we're about to leave, but this step-up design with the locking drawer and the hidden storage compartment, I absolutely love it. Does it get in the way of the fridge opening? Yes. I can sneak something out like a drink, which I can do without closing it. Otherwise, I will have to close this when I want to cook, but I think this design works perfectly, and I'm really, really happy with the layout of the pantry above the step stool here. I really should have been dusting my cabinet faces on a more regular basis. The way that these cabinets are designed with the little lip in the edges here, this is a prime spot for dirt and dust to get trapped. And I went with the wood because I think it just aesthetically looks nicer in the van build. I really like the look of wood cabinets. I use the Benjamin Aura line for the bath and kitchen specifically because the bath and kitchen paints are more resistant to moisture, to mold, and they're also a lot easier to clean. This is a smaller build regret. It's a fixable build regret. And it's one that I think is worth mentioning because it's a small detail that actually makes a pretty big impact to the experience of living in the van. What I'm talking about is my dining table, because my dining table is mounted on a lagoon mount, and the build mistake that I made was mounting it on the wrong side. I had put it on this side of the bench because I wanted to sit primarily on that side of the bench and not have my legs have to straddle the pole. When I need to get up and enter the cabin of the van, I have to push the table out. I have to walk around it, push it back in a little bit, and then walk into the rest of the van. If I had mounted it on this side here, getting in and out of the bench area would not require any of that. Like I could literally just go out this way and come back in this way. It's an easy fix because I just have to remount the table to the other side, but it also means I left holes behind. 4 big holes I need to be patched on that side, and that will be visible, which is unfortunate because, yeah, we're not going to replace the whole panel just because there's some holes there. So I wanted to point that out because it's like the little things like that that you're doing like multiple times a day that can really like start to affect the quality of your life in the van. So I think that was worth mentioning. Okay, so now it's time to talk about one of my favorite things I love about the van build, which is the decision to go with a fixed bed. Not only does it give me a lot of storage down in the garage department to store my bike, to store my kayak, to store the freshwater tank, and my entire battery capacity. The biggest thing that I love the most about having a fixed bed is the mattress that it enables me to have. Before my first build, I had a convertible dinette where I made the mattress out of pieces of foam, and they kind of put together like a puzzle and became my mattress. And that foam mattress, I just really didn't like sleeping on because foam has polyurethane in it, and polyurethane off gases and it's toxic. So the fact that I'm able to have an organic wool and cotton Shiki futon mattress. I don't have to set it up, take it down, and it's so comfortable and so lovely to sleep on. Was the best van build decision I ever made. One really great thing about a Japanese Shiki futon is that it folds away in storage really easily, and it's built such that it's meant to be aired out because I just have to fold it up and the air will be able to circulate around the mattress. The next thing I love about my van build that I want to talk about that a lot of people debate about having in their van because it takes up so much space is the fact that I have my own toilet. My toilet comes out here at the end of the kitchen, and it is the separate tiny toilet. And I definitely recommend a urine diverting toilet. Like, there is no better way to deal with your waste in a van. And generally, I think that is a much better alternative than any kind of toilet that uses an agitator to stir your poo and your compost together, because that doesn't do anything and it's disgusting and gross and hard to clean. So I really love that I went with a toilet that does not have an agitator. I have to say though, I'm really disappointed that even in this market today where there are so many products to choose from for RVs, that I still haven't found a toilet that I would consider really, really perfect for van life. I have issues with the separate toilet. The port that you pour the urine out of is really small. When you have a small port, you have to like pour it pretty precisely to avoid any splashback. And also it takes forever to dump your pee out. And the other thing I'll have to say about the separate tiny is that when you sit on the toilet, the cover to the number 2 container automatically opens. I hate that design decision. It's not 100% reliable. There were times it did not open when I sat on it and I didn't know that it did not open, and my poo went on that cover. And also, I just think that when you're using the toilet, most times during the day, it's just for number 1. So there's no reason for that latch to be open in the first place. For a toilet that costs as much as it does, because it's very expensive, I think it has a lot of flaws. Does that mean I regret having a toilet in the van? Absolutely not, because some of those toilets in the state parks and the national parks, like the vault toilets, the pit toilets, the outhouses and things like that out in public, can be really, really, really gross. So I quite enjoy having my own toilet, even if it's another thing I have to manage, even if I have to clean it on a regular basis. And to be honest, it's gross. I do not regret having it at all. Another mistake I made with the build is not going with a custom undermounted gray water tank for the ProMaster. It was a detail that I missed during the chaos of putting the build together, and it would have just meant that the gray water tank doesn't stick out so obviously from the bottom, and it would have given me more clearance if I had gone with the custom one. I might just keep using this one for a while longer and switch it out later when this one starts to get a little more worn down. Now we're heading into the back of the van, and I have a couple of thoughts here. One is that I should have mounted the freshwater tank on the driver's side of the van. Same with the gray water tank. Everything should be on the driver's side because that is the side that is most commonly used for filling up fresh water at potable water stations and dumping gray water waste. I don't know if it's possible to do that with the gray water tank, because when I was looking at the custom one that fits perfectly for the ProMaster, they were saying that it's going to favor the passenger side of the van because of the way the bottom of the van is. This is a really small nit, but I don't know if I would have done the external water port again. It is really, really easy to use, but my paranoid self does sometimes wonder if somebody might come and just like pour whatever in there. But I wonder if there's a way to have this same adapter but just on the inside and have it connect directly to the freshwater tank. I don't even know if that's possible, and I think this is the standard way that Nate does it on his vans, but if I were to do another van build, this is something I would definitely revisit. I often wonder too if I would actually in the future maybe install a large window on the sliding door. My hesitation with that is it's another window you have to keep covered for insulation and privacy, but it would let in a lot more light into the van, I think. And also, when I'm inside the van, I can actually see out without having to open the sliding door, which would be good for when the weather is rainy or when it's snowing. But my biggest hesitation, aside from the cost, is that the ProMaster sliding door is like really sticky. So I had to put a lot of force when I closed the sliding door. I don't know why, but yeah, I think adding a heavy window to it would make closing the door even harder. And I think that is the biggest hesitation of why I didn't put one in the first place. One of the favorite things I did for the van was invest in a lowered seat base for the driver's side door, because at 5'4", I'm too short apparently to reach the pedals of a ProMaster, which is insane because there are lots of people, like 5'4" is the average height of people. So I don't know why they would make it so like tall and also not give you a way to adjust it. But anyways, another modification that I would love to make in the future is actually sound deadening the cab of the ProMaster. You actually sit on top of the engine, I believe, which is why the cab is so loud when you're driving. And so sound deadening the cab, the front, I think would really help with the road noise. And another upgrade that I would love to do is upgrading the speaker system, because the speaker system in the ProMasters are not good. Those are some upgrades that I may or may not do. We shall see, but it is something on my mind every time I drive. Me and Archie are about to head out. We're about to travel internationally, and I will be back very shortly on this channel with our winter van life adventures. With that, I will say goodbye, and I will see you next time. Bye! Say bye, Archie!